generously on top. Doesn't have to be too much.
How big is the brisket?
Well, this brisket that we have here is approximately 15 pounds. Okay? You can generally find briskets from 8 to 10 pounds and bigger. So this generally will take
Me.
Oh, that's Charles Clark.
Hi, everybody.
Better known in France as Charles d'Amour, Charles of Love. Charles is a salsa king. And if we have time at the end of the presentation, Charles will do some playing of the flute and salsa dancing.
There you go.
And then we take some dried chopped onion and we'll sprinkle that on top. I like to put a little thyme on our brisket, just a little.
Because time is precious. We love to spend quality time with you.
Now, has everybody heard of Lipton onion soup mix? If you have, that's a secret ingredient. Rip open a bag of Lipton's onion soup mix and you spread that on top of the fat. Now, we didn't really have to trim anything on this brisket because it was already trimmed. Okay? I didn't realize it, but it was. So that's the little onion soup mix, and then we'll take some Himalayan pink salt, and we'll put a little bit of that on. Don't have to put too much. And then coarse or butcher grind black pepper. And you spread that on it. And if you have some kosher salt, basically the same thing as pink Himalayan salt, put a little of that on there.
That adds the blessing, makes it taste better.
Okay? Now we're going to cover this 15-pound hunk of meat. We're going to put it in a preheated oven if you have it. If you don't, it'll just take a little longer. Tear off a piece of aluminum foil and loosely cover the roasting pan. You can use a metal stainless steel roasting pan or a glass roasting pan, but if the hump, let's say the decal of the brisket is higher than the aluminum foil, you need to tint the aluminum foil, which will keep the brisket from sticking and burning into the brisket itself. So now you have the completely covered brisket. You have your oven preheated to 375, and you put it in there. And for this size brisket, it's about 15 pounds. You need about 5 hours. And then in the last 30 minutes of cooking or roasting, you take the cover aluminum foil off. That way the brisket will brown very nicely. I'm going to walk over to the oven. Hope I don't trip. And we're going to put this brisket in our oven.
It's really hot, so be careful. That's a hot oven.
And we won't check it again for probably 3 hours. By then, y'all will probably be sleeping, doing something else. But I have a surprise for you. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to roast some. Right now, they're actually winter root vegetables. Parsnips, I gave you a list of them. Parsnips, carrots, purple carrots, yellow carrots, and golden beets. And we chop them up in cubes, not very large. Golden beets, regular red beets, If you like to add Brussels sprouts, you can get a bag of Brussels sprouts. Make sure you cut the ends off and just cut them in half. And you can use Brussels sprouts. Otherwise, just peel your sweet potatoes, your carrots, and your parsnips, and your beets. Chop them up. And if you're not familiar with how to chop parsnips the proper way, first you stand on your left foot. Don't stand on your right foot because the knife will be going the wrong direction, unless you're left-handed. You take the whole, this is a purple carrot, and you put your knife in the long end, and you can cut the carrot on the bias.
That means cutting at an angle. Cut the carrot at an angle. Cutting on the bias.
And here's your peeled beets. Your peeled beets, very nice. Get your fingers red.
Beets have more iron than liver. So if you're iron deficient, you can eat beets. If you're a vegan or vegetarian, you get lots of healthy iron for your blood.
Or you can tape it on the outside of your stomach about where your liver is. And
that works too. Kosher duct tape only though.
And then you chop your beets, add them to the mixture, and a red onion. If you're going to chop your red onion, you will chop it to about this size so they roast well. And here's your other carrots, your parsnip, and a regular carrot. You can slice them down the middle. And then take all the carrots together, bunch them, and you can go at an angle or bias. And you can add them to the mixture. Little whole creamer potatoes or small Yukon Gold potatoes. You want to slice them in half so you have half potatoes. You add them to the mixture. I like to add a little fresh garlic, cloves, cut the little end off, and lay them down. Crush the garlic with the blade of your knife, and then you can chop the garlic. Add them to the mixture. And we have for this, we'll add a sheet pan. And the sheet pan, you want to spray with a little bit of pan spray so nothing really sticks. Of course, with what we're going to put on top of the mixture of vegetables, we're going to pour this in a we're going to pour all these cut vegetables in a larger bowl. See all the ingredients there. And I made a mixture of butter, olive oil, and warmed it up so it's got a nice liquidy texture. And you just pour this mixture over the cold vegetables, and that'll wrap around the vegetables easily. And then you want to take your seasonings, which will be some thyme, rosemary. You can leave out anything that you don't particularly care for, but the significant flavors of rosemary and thyme, and the onions and the pink salt, that really gives the roasted bread